Hello, my friends. Good evening from Toronto. Well, close to Toronto. This is Ajax Hamas Siddiqui, your host today. With me, our friend Brent Edward. Hi, Brent. Good
Hi,
evening.
hi, Hamad and Ajax from Markham.
Yeah,
How are
well,
you tonight?
yeah, it's a pleasure to have you again, and it's a pleasure to have all our friends who watch us again on live session, talking about how do we reinvent our careers in Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, happy to be on. It's this is our second Career Welcome at Network podcast. I know we
Yes,
had a good audience last week, and or actually 2 weeks ago, or as you referred to it, a fortnight. Um, I think tonight we were thinking about having a little more of a discussion around nurturing relationships,
yes,
because whether you're looking for your first job in Canada, whether you've been here for a year or so and looking to further your career or thinking about self-employment, uh, nurturing the network, nurturing your network or relationships is critical. And
absolutely.
we could probably talk a little bit about maybe some of the differences people might be experiencing being new to Canada as well, Hamad.
Yes, absolutely. I think this is something that we'll keep talking in every show. Is
Yes.
how different it is to be in minus 20 degrees, coming from 50 degrees Celsius. Some of us who worked in the Gulf, they
Yes.
see something like 50 degrees Celsius,
Oh,
and
yes.
that's uh, that's one of the, so like last time also we touched about the biggest thing that we miss when we come to Canada is the social capital. We lose
Yes.
our social capital, and it's a brand new society. It's very cosmopolitan, and everybody expects you to know everything because it's cosmopolitan. So they would not know that you are new.
Oh,
And
yeah, I guess so. In terms of, because, I've lived in Toronto for 30 years now, and it's very diverse. It's United Nations of the world,
yeah,
and people are from everywhere. So it's impossible to tell if people have lived in the city for a week or for their entire lives.
absolutely. Brent, some people are finding it difficult to connect. You can continue, and
Sure.
while I'll just help them because I don't know why people. It's very simple. They just have to connect
Okay, no problem.
on the profile. So,
It's okay.
uh,
Yeah, maybe I'll just
yeah.
as you're doing there, uh, the help desk component. Um, I actually was on a webinar or a podcast this past week with a new friend I met on LinkedIn. I'd actually met her during the pandemic, actually a bit before, and we were able to connect and build a relationship. And she actually runs networking events and networking community in Melbourne, in the state of Victoria, in Australia. And she invited me as her first international guest on the podcast, Karen Powell. And we were talking about building relationships and building a network and nurturing relationships and everything that's involved in terms of, building and moving a relationship forward. And, it's especially difficult now with COVID, but in some ways, there's more opportunities for you to actually move those relationships forward. I also had another conversation this week with actually a contact that you'd introduced me to, Hamad, another Hamad, and we actually had a lengthy conversation a couple of nights ago, and he was kind of informing me because this was, I think around the fifth or sixth country he'd lived in. He'd spent a lot of time in the Gulf, and just explained to me, I guess, some of the differences in terms of the pace of life from what he was used to, and I think that also influences the speed at which relationships are built. So I think it's a real consideration in terms of this pace and speed, and I get the sense that this is something that a lot of the viewers who've been following you, Hamad, um, struggle with when they come to Canada, is in terms of how fast how fast to try to build that relationship, when to move forward, when to be more assertive, and when to be patient and wait for people to come to you. So maybe it's something else we can explore a bit more.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Again, thank you very much for whoever has joined us so far, and whoever will join us will we will spot those guests also. So please introduce yourself, whoever is with us. Just say where are you from, and I will click your feed onto the screen so other people see you also. We have Ibrahim from Saudi Arabia joining in, and we have few more people. So please introduce yourselves. Just comment on LinkedIn and Facebook wherever you are, and I
Mhm.
will show your name online. So again, you're absolutely right that the pace is different, and pace depends on what kind of weather we have out there. And
I can't. Well, I guess that's the weather. I think has something to do with it. It's more. Uh,
for us, Brent. So those who are
yeah, sure.
coming
Go
in.
ahead. I'm here to learn as well.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing. So.
So the what I'm trying to say that a lot of us who come here in and hardly anybody of us has seen snow really, and the kind of cold that can be out there. To be very honest, first winter was scary for me,
Mm,
and I just did not know uh, if uh, if it is safe enough to go out, and
yeah.
am I warm enough to survive and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
so these are like very practical things that kind of pull us a little bit back, at least for
Hmm.
some time. And talking to experienced people, talking to people like you who have, I mean, who are born here and lived there throughout their life, and some people like us who have survived a few years in Canada. I think that is a good starting point. And again, as I said, building that social capital and looking at the pace of things, the way things happen here. Um, I mean, this is a learning phase, and I think the discussion today around is on how do we utilize that space and learn quicker so that we are successful quicker also. So I would pick your brains
Hmm.
on that as to how do we start like networking, and what pace do we expect from people, particularly if you are looking at like starting a business, or maybe
Hmm.
going into your self-employment thing, picking something like I started as a consultant, but it did
Yes.
not take me long because I had the background.
Yes.
So some of those things, and we will take questions also from our audience, and we will see if there are some interesting questions to respond to also. So over to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I mean, in terms of the networking and building these relationships, a lot of this is for some people is going to be getting out of their comfort zone, and even for myself, in terms of this is something I've learned over the years, is pushing yourself to actually build relationships and reach out to other people. In a lot of cases, people are being very specific around certain people that they want to reach out to. They're being very targeted, but I think you need to be willing to take some risks outside your comfort zone, outside your industry, outside your profession, to build some of these relationships. And really, it was because I was commenting on a blog today run by one of people I follow in the U.S. who's really good at networking. It's reciprocation. You're there to assist, to give, and to help others. And I think that a lot of the people, yes, they're new to Canada, but they have a lot of value to provide. It's something I think I emphasize in terms of their international experience, working in other markets, and it's something that people that you're meeting with can learn from. Canada is also tends not to be a very hierarchical society.
Yeah.
It tends to be more egalitarian in terms of, yes, people have more maybe more senior roles or maybe more accomplished, but it's one where people want to be spoken to as a peer. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind when reaching out to others. You also want to be respectful. You want to make sure that you're being direct to the point and not wasting people's time. Um, in terms of the reach outs. And I think some of it goes back to like, yes, LinkedIn is a great way to build relationships, but you really need to be clear when you're using the platform why you're reaching out. Why should someone speak to you? I was on another webinar over, this was over lunch yesterday, and they were talking about um, just being showing care and consideration for the other person. That you are clear around what you're looking for, where you can add value to them. You're to the point, and you're being respectful in terms of their time. That's a lot of it. People want to help, but you need to be clear with them in terms of what what where you think you can help them, and what kind of help you're looking for.
Yes, absolutely. So again, talking about LinkedIn, a great platform, and the platform where you and I met also,
Mm-hmm.
and where I met Shazad, and I introduced you to few people
Yes, you have.
on
Absolutely.
LinkedIn who I think are speaking to you now
Yes, for sure.
for that. So again, the thing is that you have a tool, but you need to know how to use that tool. The tool is global. Like, I proudly say that I have 57,000 uh,
A fe-
network,
uh, you
57,000.
have you have a few more followers by a factor of quite a few, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's growing. But again, the thing is that it's a process that people have to adopt. Even for the job search, again, going back to the same point that most of the immigrants that who come here are from India and Pakistan, regardless of where they were before coming here. They were in Dubai, or like Shazad
Mhm.
was in Kuwait for many, many years, or in Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
Yes.
The environment is totally different. And when you come to a society which is westernized as well as respect a lot about various cultures, uh, you have to really acclimatize yourself within that society, and that acclimatization process takes a while. So one should not really jump onto things. Be patient and try to learn, try to adopt this new thing. LinkedIn, hardly anybody cares about it before you are here. But again, if you're looking to connect with recruiters, if you're looking to connect with people like you and me, and some others who are out there to help people and to provide them consultancy and coaching and whatnot, you have to be active on LinkedIn, which means that you have to have a decent profile. Anybody who you send your invite out would come and see your profile. So
Yes.
your profile, before connecting with you, or before even like doing anything further, they would immediately look at your profile, and they would try to understand why this person is connecting with me.
Yes.
So it's very, very important that if you're coming here, I would suggest prior to coming here. But if you are already here, then this is one thing that you really need to look at as a platform where you can connect with the people. You can actually target your industry. You can target the people that you really want to connect with. And what I found out, people are very helpful, provided your ask is something that they could really meet. And you should build that relationship and trust before you ask anything,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Um,
We talked about like the 50 cent ask versus the $50 ask,
yes,
and um, it's uh, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of some of your listeners who've arrived fairly shortly. They may have families. They may be mid-career. They need, they need to work, and they really, spend a lot of time deciding to move to Canada, and they will really want to pursue their career and what they've been done potentially before, or they may be open to suggest to other opportunities. But I would say that in terms of those connections you're making, I wouldn't look at every connection as a possible employer or possible link to an employer. People who I've worked with, mentored, who have been in Canada for several years, a lot of them have said they wish they had spent more time building relationships with people who were not employers during their initial time in Canada, because you want to build friendships. um, you want to build connections with people who might be able to help you down the road. So I guess it's being open to these other potential relationships that you could develop with people that you might be able to help or might be able to help you. Yes, that could lead to a job, employment, career advancement, um, but be open to building some of these other relationships, which you'll need, um, during your time in Canada. And they're really important as well.
Absolutely, and I fully agree with you that a lot of us, again going back to the same point, because this is what it is. The reality is that three major nationalities we see in Canada. It's Chinese, Indian, and Pakistanis, and there's others also, but in fewer numbers. And they usually, a lot of us actually, when we come here, we already have tons of experience. Uh, Working in
Oh,
different.
incredible credentials,
Yes,
multiple
yeah,
degrees,
yes,
multiple languages,
yeah,
tons of experience.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's the story that we need to tell. I mean, uh, um, often it is that the story is missing, and the ability to connect with people is when you start helping people. So I'm a big fan of volunteering. I when i when i came here, I started volunteering. I mean, first of all, that gave me an opportunity to meet people I would have never met before,
Hmm.
and helping them helped me a lot, because that actually started helping me build my network here. I mean, given the fact that I already had a network, but a physical network, knowing people, and
But it probably also helped you in terms of some of
oh, yeah,
the cultural cues and how business is done and relationships in terms of
yeah,
different
yeah.
from what you've seen before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And somebody like me who already had decent experience of working in North America, I mean, I knew that without nurturing those initial relationships, it would be very challenging. And well, we had COVID, and that actually changed the whole scenario. But in a positive way, I would say,
Yeah.
now you can meet people on Zoom. The people don't expect. So if I'm living in Ajax, and somebody is living in Toronto, I can still connect with those people on Zoom.
Oh, yeah. It would have been harder before, for sure.
Yes, yes. And one of the, see, again, you have to kind of start thinking in a very Canadian style when you come here, and you have to do it quickly, really. So things like, discovery calls, something that, we've never heard of, right? Discovery call, connecting with people for a discovery call. What does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
A coffee chat, hardly anybody heard that.
Yes.
So again, when you start learning about these things, you start connecting with people, and I mean, Brent, because you interact with a very large community. I interact with large enough community.
Hmm.
We know that a lot of these immigrants bring in tons of knowledge and experience. The first thing they should do is to think about helping other. How can I help? So when I help people build their LinkedIn profile, I always ask them, have you ever volunteered?
Mm.
Because a lot of time, because volunteering is perhaps the last part in your profile, and you miss that thing up.
But it's really important. We've
It's
both done
extremely
volunteer
important.
work. We've met some amazing people. That's one of the reasons I
Exactly.
got into this field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a
So
question. Sorry, go ahead, Ahmed.
So what I'm trying to say is that this. So you have to think when you're reinventing, and the title of
Yeah.
this show is reinventing yourself. When you're reinventing yourself, there are multiple ways to think about reinventing. Not only within your profession,
Yes.
like I'm mentoring someone who has financial services background. Now he is pivoting into a brand new career in Canada. He's pretty senior, but he's still
Wonderful.
doing it. He's taking some more exams and land licensing.
Yes.
So you have, this is the career side of it, but your own personality side of it is when you start helping people. I mean, that help could be very simple as just walking down to your close by church or mosque, or this is the starting point. This is the place where
Yes.
people meet people. Brent, we have some questions and some comments.
Sure.
If we take those,
Yes.
then
Absolutely.
uh, okay.
And I have one quote I want to run past you before we're done. But
Yes, yes.
Brand, I keep hearing
So
from multiple
So this is
kids.
Shahzad. Shahzad is
That's
from
okay.
Kuwait, and
Okay.
he's a fascinating fellow, a marketing guru, I would say. Worked with all the major brands, major global brands. Said, I kept hearing from multiple contacts that jobs on LinkedIn Indeed are just posted to fill government requirement. The companies have already decided on candidates based on networking and references. How true that is, Brent, in your
I,
opinion?
yeah. Again, this is my personal opinion. I'm not a recruiter. This is my completely personal opinion. Companies are posting on LinkedIn or on Indeed or any of the websites because they have a job opening,
Yeah.
and there may be internal candidates who may be considered, um, but there's no guarantee that the internal candidate's going to get the job. I've been on both sides. I've been the internal candidate and didn't get the job. I've been the external candidate and gotten over an internal candidate. So Um, no, I mean, yes, there are a lot of government. There are requirements from the different levels of government and regulatory, and to make sure that there's reach out. There's also a lot of focus around diversity and inclusion in terms of underrepresented groups to make sure that companies are casting a wider net to make sure that their employees and their employee base looks much more like society in general, and also their customers because it's good for business as well. Um, I think what might be a bit confusing is you're maybe applying online, but the number of applicants, even when I was applying for a job 3 or 4 years ago, you've got maybe several hundred, 300, 500 applicants maybe are applying on LinkedIn, plus every other platform, plus the internal candidates, plus. So if the job is posted online and you don't have a relationship with the existing company, it's going to be tricky to be the successful candidate. And that comes back to kind of around networking, around building those relationships to try to find out about the jobs before they're actually posted. Because if you're just applying online, there are so many candidates, and also the unemployment rates around hovering around nationally around 9%, which is higher than it's been because of COVID. There are a lot of people looking for work. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a case of people have already decided and they're just putting out the applications, because there's a lot of work for the companies to actually go through all the applicants. I think it's
Yeah.
just there's so many people applying online and trying to best to try to find those jobs before they're actually posted.
Yeah. And what I usually tell my clients, if you are applying for a job, you are getting basically a dip in a pool of several hundred people, right?
Yeah,
And
it could be a pool, could be an ocean,
yes,
depending
yes,
on the job.
yeah.
And again,
So
something I would just add in is some of the most coveted positions or the brand names have excellent opportunities for career advancement. There's also a lot of other smaller companies, small
yes,
businesses, small organizations who have great opportunities as well for people to consider.
absolutely. And ideally, because we all know that Canada is a recruiter-driven market, and recruiters are looking for people all the time. I know my niece is a recruiter for a company, and she's looking for people all the time. And she's in the engineering field, so I mean, all her jobs that she gets. So the company posts on the portal, but she posts on her profile also because she says that she gets more targeted response when she posts on her profile.
Interesting.
So anybody who is connected with her, or if I see a job and I like I tag sometime my clients on the jobs. I just tagged someone from Secotia Bank.
What's
There
it?
was a financial advisor
Yeah,
job. Now they have posted the job, but they also are posting jobs on their profile so that they can get more
exactly.
targeted applicants.
So if
But
you and they're casting a net very wide, which increases the
yes,
number of applicants. But if you're connected, you may find out about it a little bit before everyone else.
absolutely,
Another
absolutely.
reason to have a up to date, all-star level LinkedIn
Oh yes,
profile and
oh,
also have great
oh yes.
connections.
So we have another from Faisal. My take is that there has been a proper settlement effort by stakeholders. I don't see professional bodies having a platform to help professionals in their field. I mean, is that true? I mean, I was on a webinar. I was training a group of 53 chartered accountants
Hmm,
the other day, and all those chartered accountants were from Pakistan.
okay.
Uh, there is a Pakistani chartered accountants body that has an arm in Canada,
Yeah.
and we had people from GTA, we had people from Manitoba, we had people from I think from BC also on
Okay.
that
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
So
There's all kinds of there's bridging programs, which
yes,
are some of them started in Ontario. They've expanded to a substantial number of regulated professions. They really talk about taking people who are in a profession and bringing them up to speed on the Canadian market, jargon, business behavior. Really has taken off, and they've added a lot of additional bridging programs. A lot of those are sponsored. Some of them are sponsored by professional or trade associations. There are actually a lot of professional associations that want to have new members, and they want to attract some of this tremendous talent in the new immigrants who are coming to Canada. They're potential members for these associations. So a lot of them have taken a lot of steps to help with integration, sponsoring events. So there is quite a few opportunities there.
yeah. So Anju says, agreed, Hamad. I began volunteering before I got contract job. The main desire to connect with people on LinkedIn is to build a connectivity base. I am in fact telling a story through the book I am working
Oh,
on to be published this year.
oh,
So, so
congratulations!
this is great. I mean, so you really need to think from a very different tangent, from a very different perspective when you are in a new
Marketing.
country.
This is all kind of marketing
Oh
strategy,
yes,
and you can build a LinkedIn profile, but ideally you want people to be attracted to you, and a lot of it's by building content, joining groups online on LinkedIn, Facebook, providing your perspective, professional opinions, showing how um, not relying on your CV to do the talking, but people actually want you to demonstrate that you're as knowledgeable as you are. And with social media, there's ways to do that and to share your perspective and share your expertise. So I would encourage people, especially with COVID, is to build your presence, show how show what your expertise is, and not wait for people to discover you.
yeah. I absolutely. So these are some of the things that a lot of immigrants miss out when they come here, and that actually increases frustration when they're not working
I would
and
say
they're used.
a lot of established
Yeah.
Canadians who've been here for
Yes.
their entire lives and maybe out of work are also missing out and not doing that as well.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Um, so yeah. So connect with people, build your capacity to speak to people in their language, which means language. I don't mean English. Of course, your English is good. That's why you are here. But means that the norm, the way they discuss things, the way they
Yeah,
try to engage and
yeah.
interact with you.
I would have it, and this is some of the work that I do with networking for newcomers, is coaching people around Canadian business culture, some of the history, some of the
Yes.
culture, the geography, and it's something that's really important. So when you have an opportunity to speak with them, yes, people, everyone on our call, obviously, has English as their a primary language. It may not be their first language. It may be, but it's being able to speak about things in a Canadian context, and
Yeah.
that's something I'm able to help people with.
Yeah. We have a question from Ibrahim from Saudi Arabia. I think one more important question is what are the requirements for foreigners to come and work in Canada? Ibrahim, this is a show mostly focused on people who are either here already or in the process of coming here through immigration. And there are multiple streams of immigration. You can look at Citizenship Immigration Canada's website. There are sections for work permit also, so you can look at their on that particular section for the requirement, and proceed that way. Um, we have again. Well, it's a good idea, Ryan. Thank you. This is the latest one from him. Um, he says that I discovered that if you apply to most recent jobs, your odds are better than applying for older ones. I'm talking about minutes versus hours. Uh, he probably is talking about like online jobs available, but again, looking at from the very Canadian perspective or North American perspective, you post a job and within the next 1 hour you'll probably have 500 applicants. So again, it comes to the same point which what Brent has said. You have to have that uh, preemptive network that actually is helping you
Yeah,
with some things. They won't help you find the job, but if you
yeah,
know that there's a job available, then your chances are a little bit
yeah.
better.
I think about just quick aside, Hamad. I think about some of the jobs I've applied for, and even this kind of goes back to business sales and business development. That if you're pitching your services, in this case, as a job, you're pitching yourself. If you're just finding out about the opportunity and you've got a day to prepare versus someone who's been exploring the opportunity for weeks or months or knows people and can know the inside of the organization, your chances of applying and getting in, if you haven't done your research and your homework on the organization, are quite low. Um, Again, I'd say in Canadian society in general, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, risk taking is fairly low. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a fairly risk adverse society in some ways. Again, all kinds of differences across the country, but um, people are not going to take highly risky decisions. And if someone doesn't know anything about the organization they're applying to or just found out about it, their chances are not great that they would get the job. Not
yeah,
impossible, but difficult.
yeah. So ideally, you have to be out there, and people should see you, and you should see people. Uh, engage with them. I would say don't ask for a job, just wait for your opportunity. There will be opportunities.
Yeah.
There are opportunities. Still, there are. So when I spoke to these group of accountant, I
Yes.
think we are going
Hmm.
towards the end of the session already today. I actually asked them if they know how many jobs for financial analysts were posted in the past 24 hours on LinkedIn, and they
Interesting.
had no clue.
Okay.
So in that category, there were more than 500 jobs
And this is in the
posted
GTA or
in
Canada?
GTA, in GTA,
In
in
GTA.
GTA,
Wow.
uh, on LinkedIn in the past 24 hours. That past 24 hours when I spoke to
Wow.
them.
And this is just recently. This is during the
Yeah, yeah,
pandemic.
a week ago, a week ago.
Holy mackerel. Wow.
So, and the thing is that the skill set that is required. Now, you think about it. If that skill set which is required, and this is again LinkedIn's data, LinkedIn provides that data. How many
Yeah.
times you access that
Mhm.
data?
Yep.
If we show that kind of skill set in our profile, in our resume, we are automatically up one level, right? LinkedIn's algorithm will understand exactly, okay, these are the people are looking for these skills. This guy
Yes.
has, or this set of people have these skills.
Yeah.
Throw their
Yes.
profile up because LinkedIn is making money off it, right? uh,
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's
yeah.
the first, the business model. Yes.
Yeah, so again, the thing is that we don't really understand it, well, generally speaking, and we don't apply those techniques that are useful for finding an opportunity or connecting with recruiters. And when people connect with recruiters, the first thing they do, they start sending out a resume, and they already get like tons of resume every day. I think it's a matter of like waiting for that opportunity when that recruiter posts a job on his or her profile. That's the time to connect with that recruiter. I mean, you can connect with the recruiter, but actually the ask comes when there is an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
finding a job is a full-time job, as I always say, right?
Oh, and believe me, I've been in that boat, and I've had to do that several times in the last decade, and it's tough. It is really tough. It's quite a journey. It's rewarding when you end up with something that you really enjoy doing,
Great.
but it is a tough situation for sure.
All right, so we are already 37
Nothing
minutes
going
in the
already,
show. I mean,
man. Time goes by so fast.
time flies. You have something to share with those who have joined us. Something that you always try to share. You know, either idiom or something that could relate people to
Oh,
to
okay.
the
Well,
perspective.
it was just a conversation I had with someone you did introduce me to, and it's kind of a food for thought. He gave me an analogy comparing, principally, I guess he was originally from Pakistan, I believe, but he'd spent a
Yes.
long time living in the Gulf states,
Yeah.
and he gave me an analogy, and he said I could use it. So he had compared living in the Gulf states to running 100-meter race in terms of the amount of competition, the speed, the pace. And he said he's been in Canada, I think, about 3 years, 3 or 4 years. And he had talked about it being more of a marathon. So you've got people who are used to sprinting and running in a marathon. Like there's definitely differences you have to consider. And a lot of this was the pace and building relationships and the amount of competition. Um, and it's been a challenge, and I was trying to give him some coaching and some assistance in that area, but I think it's the mindset. I know you talk about when you do your daily sessions, Ahmad, you talk about growth and the right mindset, and it's important, but I think it's realizing as quick as possible what some of the differences are. And I think the interesting thing was, because this was his sixth country, um, he was able to identify, because he had um, traversed from different countries in the Gulf where there were quite dramatic differences. When he came to Canada, he could see that there was other differences. I think the sooner some of the newcomers can identify what those differences are, they can learn in terms of any changes in strategy or tactics they need to make in
Yeah.
terms of realizing their potential in their new country.
Absolutely. And here we have this role that you and I play, and people like us play. You more, me less, but we try to help people
Hmm.
in understanding how the situation may be. And again, I speak to 3 to 4 people every day who are seeking mentoring and coaching. Um, and I always tell them, okay, now if you don't do things the way things to be done should be done in the country, then you may achieve your goals at the end of the day, but it will take you a longer time. So if you really want to kind of shorten that time, then you have to do things in the way that this particular country requires you to do things. Network, build your network, build your relationships, don't ask for jobs. Once you have these relationships, once people know that you are capable of doing things for them, I mean, they are looking for solution providers, you will get the opportunities. So this is great. Just last comment from Shazad, and then we wind up. Um,
Gulf states have low interesting. So
yeah,
having up into the Gulf states have low competition. It's all about who you know. Having they're interesting,
yeah,
exposed to Asian, absolutely.
yeah,
So, and I think that there's definitely competition in Canada, but I think it's a different type of competition. Um, and there's just dramatic differences between the Gulf states and Canada.
yeah.
This is a particular example I was using, but there are definitely cultural differences that uh, need to be taken into account for sure.
And we will keep talking about these challenges
And I
and
will continue to
solutions.
learn more from
Yeah.
your listeners. I'm here to share some of my experiences, but I'm also here to learn as well.
Yeah. and we would be interested in bringing you anybody who's interested who has been in Canada for a while uh, on our show for a chat. And this is what Brent and I have been planning. So maybe Shazad or Anju or Swati, Jasmine, Faisal, whoever is interested. Uh, Rajuta, if you, I mean, anybody interested, just DM me. And the next
Hmm.
episode is going to be on 25th of February, which
Yeah.
we're doing a fortnight, well, a 15-day show. So every second week we will do the shows. The 25th, 6:30 p.m. Canada Eastern Time, we'll do the next show. So DM me if you're interested, and we'll bring you in as a guest, and we'll talk to you about your experiences and how you are moving along in your beautiful journey in Canada. Brett, if you have anything else to add, please do so. Otherwise,
No,
we
I think we covered everything. People know how to get a hold of me. Www.networking for newcomers. Posted some new content on my YouTube page, and follow me on my company page, Brent Canada Experiences.
yes,
And look forward to our conversation in
absolutely.
2 weeks.
All right. So thank you very much, Brent, for your time this evening, and you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Hamad. Take care.
Thank you very much, friends, for joining us today. And please become torchbearer, which means there are a lot of immigrants out there who need help. Share this broadcast. Just press share button so that it reaches out to a wider community, the community that follows you or in your connections, so that they also learn the way they should really be working for their careers and professions in Canada. Hamal Siddiqui signing off from Ajax, and hope to see you on 25th of February. Bye bye.